Objective, transforming literal equations. Definition number 1. Literal equation is an equation involving two or more variables. So there could be x and y, a, b, and c, two or more variables. Definition number 2. Formulas. Special types of literal equations that show a relationship between two or more quantities. And these quantities could be variables. Remember, the variables are the letters in our equations. Vic number 1. To transform a literal equation, solve for one variable in terms of the others. So the problem will say, solve for x in terms of y, or solve for a in terms of b and c. Solve for one variable in terms of the others. This means get the variable you are solving for alone, all by itself, on one side of the equal sign. So on one side of the equation, all you're going to have is one single variable. Transforming formulas. Example number 1. A equals 1/2 BH. Solve for H. So this is something you should be familiar with, the area formula for a triangle. 1/2 base times height. And we're going to solve for H, which is the height. So in order to get rid of the 1/2 and B, this is 1/2 times B times H, we're going to need to get rid of the 1/2. So this is 1/2 times B times H. The opposite of multiplying by a fraction would be to multiply by its reciprocal, which means we're going to literally flip this over. The reciprocal, sometimes I call the fliprical. So we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by 2. Because the reciprocal of 2 is 1/2. The reciprocal of 1/2 is 2 over 1. 2 over 1. So times 2 on both sides. So 1/2 and 2 will cancel out. On the right side, all we have is B times H, and 2 times A is just 2A. Now we still don't have H by itself, so what I need to do is get rid of the B. This is B times H. The opposite would be to divide. So divide by B, what you want to disappear. Divide by B. So on the right side, B divided by B is just 1. 1 times H is H. So now we have isolated our variable, or we have it all by itself on one side of the equation, and we're left with 2A, 2 times A, divided by B. We have solved for H. Example number 2. P equals 2 times the quantity, this is in parentheses, L plus W. Solve for W. So here's W and it's inside our parentheses, but we have this 2 on the outside. Instead of distributing the 2, we're going to divide by it. Divide both sides by 2. Now when we do this, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times L plus W is just L plus W. We can drop our parentheses here. P divided by 2, we can just carry down. Now to get W by itself, it has L plus W, so the opposite is a positive L. We're going to subtract L. Subtract L from both sides. So those will cancel out. L minus L is 0, plus W is just W. And we have P over 2, P divided by 2, minus L. W is all on one side by itself, so we have solved for it. Example number 3, C equals 2 pi r. Solve for r. C is circumference, 2 pi times the radius, so we're solving for the radius of a circle. Now, I have 2 times pi times r. Instead of dividing by 2 and then dividing by pi, I can just divide by 2 pi in one step. Divide both sides by 2 pi. And I can do this because 2 divided by 2 is 1. Pi divided by pi is 1. And 1 times r is just r. So I have C divided by 2 pi is equal to r. Again, r is now all by itself, so we have solved for it. Example number 4. S is equal to L plus 2B. Solve for B. So, here's B. I need to get rid of this L first. It's a positive L, so I'm going to subtract L from both sides. Those will cancel. I have 2B on the right. S minus L is just S minus L. Remember, they're not like terms. One's an S and one's an L, so we can't put them together. I need to get rid of the 2 that's in front of the B. So it's 2 times B. The opposite will be to divide. Divide by 2 because I want B to stay there. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times B is just B. S minus L also gets divided by 2. S minus L over 2. And this would be your final answer. Transforming equations. Example number 5. Y equals 5x plus 7. So I want to solve for x. Okay, so 5x is right here. If I cover that up, I need to get rid of the plus 7 first. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So now I have y minus 7 on the left. Those 7's will cancel. Positive 7 and negative 7 cancel each other out. Carry down the 5x. Now I want x by itself, so this is 5 times x. The opposite of multiplication is division, so divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 1 times x is just x. Y over 5 doesn't simplify. 7 over 5, or negative 7 over 5, doesn't simplify either. So we're going to leave our answer as y minus 7 over 5. X is by itself, so this is your answer. Example number 6. Y minus 4 equals 3x minus 8. Solve for x. Notice x is over here on the right side. So I cover it up. I need to get rid of this minus 8 first. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. That's the opposite of subtraction. Those will cancel. Carry down the 3x. Negative 4 plus 8 is positive 4. So y plus 4. Get rid of the 3 in front of the x. So this is 3 times x. So I will divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times x is x. Here, y divided by 3 doesn't simplify, and 4 divided by 3 doesn't simplify either. So y plus 4 divided by 3. This would be equal to x. In examples 7 and 8, we're solving both of these for y. So here's y, cover it up. I have minus 5x. So the opposite of subtracting 5x will be to add 5x. Those cancel. Negative 5x plus 5x is 0. Plus 3y is 3y. 5x plus 9, right? The 9 is positive. I can write 9 plus 5x, or I can write 5x plus 9. I can't combine them because one of them has an x and the other one doesn't. Now I'm solving for y. So here's y. I need to get rid of the 3 in front of it. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Now I have 1 times y is y. 5x over 3 doesn't simplify. 5x over 3. But 9 divided by 3 does. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So this is my final answer. Y is by itself. Example number 8. Again, I'm solving for y. Cover up y plus 4x. The opposite is subtract 4x from both sides of the equal sign. Those will cancel out. 4x minus 4x is 0. Plus 2y is just 2y. Negative 4x, and that's a positive 8. So I can write minus 4x plus 8. Again, I still want y by itself, and I have this 2 in front of it, 2 times y, so the opposite is to divide. Divide. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I have y by itself now. And 2 goes into -4, -2 times. It has x with it, keep the x. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Make sure that if you can simplify, then you do. Now here I got 5/3, but that's an improper fraction and it doesn't divide evenly, so I can leave it as an improper fraction. 4 and 2 and 8 and 2 are both divisible. Okay, so we simplified it. Solving literal equations with only variables. So if you look at these 4 examples, you don't see any numbers, only letters, only variables. You know, you're going to treat these the same exact way as we did when we transformed equations. The only difference is equations have letters and numbers, and these just have only variables. But we're going to follow the same process. Solve for B. So here's the one that I want, B. I need to cover up what's with B and get rid of this minus D first. So the opposite of subtracting D will be to add D to both sides. So I have A, B, those cancel, equals C plus D. Now C and D are not like terms, so I cannot combine them. I still don't have B by itself. So what I'm going to need to do is to divide by A. Divide by A. Because it was A times B, so the opposite is to divide. A divided by A is 1. So now I have 1 times B, B. C plus D all over A. And there's your answer. Example number 10. M minus H times P equals D. Solve for P. So again, here's the variable that I want to get by itself. Cover it up. I need to get rid of this M. Well, the M is positive, so the opposite of a positive M will be subtract M. Those cancel. I have a negative in front of that HP. It stays with it. Negative HP equals D minus M. Again, I want to get this P by itself, but I have to get rid of a negative H in front of it. So that's negative H times P. I'm going to have to divide by negative H. Divide by negative H. A negative over a negative makes it a positive. H over H is 1. So this is just P. D minus M over negative H. And you can leave your answer like that. Example number 11. C equals D divided by G. Solve for G. So the variable that I want is in the denominator. So I have to get rid of the numerator. So what I'm going to need to do is get G out of the denominator and then get G by itself. So I'm going to multiply both sides by G. So what I've done is G over G, that's going to cancel out and be 1, and I'll have D over here. But I don't want D by itself, I want to get G by itself. Well, now I have G times C. So basically I've just moved things around a little bit. But again, I want G. Now it's G times C. To get rid of the C that's with G, I'm going to divide. Divide by C. C divided by C is 1. And now I have G by itself. D over C. G equals D divided by C. Example number 12. Y minus B all over M is equal to X. And I want to solve for Y. So here's Y. I need to get rid of the denominator. Let's get rid of our fractions. So I'm going to multiply both sides by M. M divided by M is 1. I have Y minus B equals X times M. That's XM. I want Y. To get rid of the minus B, I need to add B to both sides. Negative b and positive b will cancel each other out. So I have y equals x times m plus b. Remember, x was multiplied by m here. And this is your final answer.